Hey guys, welcome back to my Spiced Knives YouTube channel. Today we are making the so highly requested stuffed grape leaves. These are popular in so many different regions, so you'll find that there are so many different ways to prepare them and so many different names attributed to them. Today I'm going to show you the way my family makes it from Damascus, Syria, and we call it Yabraa, but you may have also heard the names Dolma, Dawali, Warak Enab, etc. If you're looking for a stuffed grape leaf recipe that's perfectly lemony, garlicky, with a beautifully spiced filling, look no further. Today we're going to go over every single detail on how to make these grape leaves. If you have access to fresh grape leaves, definitely use that, but that's kind of hard to come by, so Orlando is my favorite brand. You can buy it at the Middle Eastern market or online. These are sitting in some pretty salty water, so we're going to rinse them really well in some cold water, then soak them up in a bowl and let them sit there for about 2 hours. We're going to do the same exact thing to some short grain Calrose rice now. Rinse a few times, then soak in cold water for about 2 hours and strain before use. Once your rice is done soaking, we're going to prepare our filling. As always, I'm going to include the measurements in the description box below. Now add your strained rice to a bowl with 80-20 ground beef or lamb. I personally prefer beef. Then add salt, allspice, black pepper, cinnamon, and safflower threads. This is the one I buy. It's similar to saffron, but not quite the same and much cheaper. I find it at my local Middle Eastern or Mexican grocery store, but you can also find them online. Then add olive oil and mix it all in together really well. Once your meat, rice, and spices are all evenly mixed in like so, you're good to go. Okay, now let's begin rolling. Each grape leaf has a smooth side like so, and then a rougher side. You want to be sure you have the rougher side pointing up and you cut off that thick stem right there. Now lay it out flat again, and to the rougher side we're going to add our filling to the bottom half of the leaf. Thin it out like a log. Be sure it's not too thick. You want it to be rather thin. Fold both sides of the bottom over the stuffing and hug it snugly. Then we're going to fold both edges over as well. Then very tightly begin to roll it up as you use your other fingers to pinch in the flat edges so that none are sticking out. It should look like this. Once it's ready, place it seam side down while you prep the rest. Now in Syria, the proper way to make these meat and rice ones are to use very small leaves and wrap them as thinly and tightly as possible, no larger than the size of your pinky. So what my mom does is, if we have some very large leaves like the ones I have today, she cuts them into 3 equal parts, adds a very small amount of filling to it, and then wraps it like you would the other leaves. Again, you don't have to do this. That's tripling your amount of work, literally, but it's just the very authentic, grandma style type of way. So either way works, take your pick. I usually just leave the leaves whole and just make sure that my filling is thinned out very well. So as you can see, it creates these really cute and tiny grape leaves. Here's how it compares to if you were to do it with one whole leaf. Now I'm going to show you what to do if your leaf has a hole or a tiny rip in it. I see a lot of people just toss out the entire leaf and not use it, or place a whole leaf on top and just double it up, but I find that to be way too thick. All you need to do is find a leaf that's way too ripped up to save, cut a piece off and just patch it, then place your filling in the center and wrap it up like you usually would. Again, for this recipe, please be sure you're wrapping as tightly as possible. You don't want them to come undone in your pot. So this step is what really makes this dish known to be labor intensive, but if you have some friends or family to sit around and help you, it really does pass by quickly. I always just put on my favorite show and just sit down and roll them up. I promise you all this rolling will be worth it because these are delicious. Okay, so once you have them all rolled up like so, we're going to quickly season our steak. I prefer to use bone-in steak. Again, you can use beef or lamb, and quickly season all sides with salt, allspice, and black pepper. I used a bone-in ribeye steak here, but another very popular one is leg of lamb. Now I'm going to use my Instant Pot, and I have it on the saute setting, and I added some oil and I'm going to let it get hot and quickly sear the steak on all sides until it's brown. If you're cooking at the regular stovetop method, just have a large pot, have the heat cranked up, and do the same thing. Quickly sear it on all sides. Once it's seared, we're going to remove the pot from the heat and add a lot of garlic. Now don't be afraid of this part. It is the best part of the entire dish. Once it slow cooks, it has an almost roasted and sweet taste that just soaks up the sauce, and everybody literally fights over the garlic. Now we're just adding an even layer of thinly sliced peeled potatoes and quickly seasoning that layer with just a bit of salt and pepper. Like the garlic, these potatoes soak up that lemony delicious sauce. Okay, we're at our final step now. Begin to layer in the grape leaves in a circular motion all around the edges of the pot, and be sure you're packing it in tightly so they don't fall apart as they cook. Be careful not to leave any open spaces. They should all be crammed in real tightly together. In between each layer, add more garlic again. Please don't worry about it being too much. Once it's cooked, the garlic is not spicy. So you'll probably find that other versions of this dish from different regions don't add nearly as much garlic, but that's what makes this one my favorite. Now I just layer the remaining grape leaves in the center just to fill it all and make it one layer. Then you're gonna add some water. You want it to be almost covering the top, but not fully, because as it boils, the leaves are going to release some liquid, and if you have too much liquid in there, the leaves will become undone. Now add some salt, lemon juice, and I like to just kind of gently mix the pot around to make sure the salt and the lemon are evenly dispersed as it cooks through. So again, I'm cooking these in the Instant Pot on high pressure for 40 minutes. Be sure the knob is turned to sealing and not venting. I find that this tastes exactly the same and takes way less time, but if you'd like to cook it the traditional way on the stove top, just bring your pot to a boil, and once it starts to boil, lower the heat all the way, then cover with a lid and cook for about 3.5 to 4 hours. Once it's done, strain out all the liquid. Don't toss this out. Use it as a dipping sauce for it and to rehydrate them and reheat them. It's so delicious. Then place a large tray over your pot and carefully flip it over and uncover it. The meat should be so tender, it's just falling apart. Everything should be perfectly flavored with lemon and garlic. Guys, this is my all-time favorite dish. I often get asked what my favorite recipe is, and it's easily this one. Seriously, I could just eat this every day and never get sick of it. We serve it with some plain yogurt or cucumber yogurt and the sauce from the broth, as well as some green onions or just regular onions. I hope you guys will give this recipe a go and that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love if you would like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.